As the cradle of civilization, Africa also has a long history of trade. For centuries, raw goods like gold and salt have been integral to trade that spanned to faraway places like Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. The Africa of the 21st century is a much different place. It emerged from centuries of colonialism, and it's now focused on re-establishing its own continental and global trade networks. But how exactly do you promote trade, and how does that benefit the continent? In recent decades, regional economic communities, or RECs, have made enormous strides in this arena. The Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, or COMESA, is one such REC.
COMESA is one of the 8 regional economic communities recognized by the African Union and has a membership of 21 member states with a population of over 600 million people. Covers quite a wide area, ranging from membership from as far north as Tunisia and as far south as Eswatini. Has a combined GDP of just about $1 trillion and is one of the largest economic communities in Africa.
COMESA's mission is to make trade easier. While it focuses on the entire value chain, its headline projects, programs, and initiatives focus on 4 types of integration: markets, or eliminating barriers to flow of goods, services, capital, and people; physical, for example, improving infrastructure in the region could both reduce the cost of doing business and enhance competitiveness; productive, with a focus on agriculture and industrial development, also intended to enhance competitiveness and build the region's productive capacity; gender and social, which focuses on gender equality, empowering women and youth, and supporting innovation.
Our focus is anchored on trade facilitation because we believe that trade can really help to grow these economies.
A signature achievement has been the COMESA Free Trade Area.
So far, we have 16 out of the 21 member countries which have reduced tariffs to 0. And at the same time, they are also working towards removal and eradication of all forms of tariff barriers that hinder COMESA trade.
Progress on the Free Trade Area means that COMESA must closely oversee rules of origin and certificates of origin. The rules are used to determine whether goods produced in COMESA region are eligible for preferential treatment within the Free Trade Area. The certificates of origin are there for the passports for goods. Liberalization of trade also means the elimination of non-tariff barriers, or NTBs. An online and SMSing reporting, monitoring, and eliminating system has been operational since 2010 and has remained an effective tool in the resolution of cross-border trade challenges. But other barriers persist, and these are addressed with trade facilitation initiatives like the development of one-stop border posts, which reduce the processing time and thus transit times at the border, allowing enterprises and individuals to spend more time conducting business.
Travelers or truckers just have to stop once. What that has done, it has saved time, improved processing efficiency. It has also reduced the cost of doing business.
Customs procedures can be a trade barrier if not addressed. Hence, simplification and digitalization of customs procedures is another area of focus. The organization also promoted the Simplified Trade Regime, a program targeted at small-scale traders. Launched in 2010, it essentially means that traders importing or exporting $2,000 of goods or less can use an expedited process to clear their goods. The documentation and certification processes are simpler and faster.
These small-scale traders have been trained in such a way that how can you cross the border formally? There's a component where you can use the facility without paying even duty.
The bulk of cross-border trade in the region is conducted by the small-scale traders, and it's a very effective means of making sure that they are not left out of the trading arrangement that COMESA has put in place.
And digitalization is helping to streamline many of these processes.
Digitalization is very important, not just of the efficiency gains again in terms of ability to serve many customers, but also facilitate, the clearance of and reduce physical engagement or encounters.
So most of the processes are actually automated. And for Kasumbalesa, you find that there's also a vehicle traffic management system, which helps us to manage the traffic flow.
But all of these programs, initiatives, and work aren't very useful if goods and services can't reach their customers. That is why energy, transport, and information communications technology form the core of COMESA's infrastructure initiatives. Energy, both production and security, has been another hurdle because the continent has abundant resources but lacks standardized systems and policies to support the industry. Initiatives like the Zambia, Tanzania, Kenya, ZTK, Electricity Interconnector enhance security of the power supply and promote the electricity trade and foster regional integration.
That interconnector is extremely important for the whole regions because it links two important power pools. And once you have this link established, now you can have power trade. That energy can be consumed probably by customers who in Sudan or in Uganda or everywhere.
It will also realize the Cape to Cairo electricity highway and pave the way for the establishment of the regional energy markets. Easing the burden of transport has also been a priority. The organization focuses mostly on transport and transit trade facilitation. The carrier license that provides regionally valid registration for commercial goods vehicles is one example.
If I'm stopped in Zambia, they just ask me about this license and I show them. They will not question me any questions, they will say bust.
Another is a yellow card, which is a regionally recognized third-party insurance for motor vehicles. If you're covered in one COMESA country, you're covered in all of them.
Importance of COMESA is this yellow card in the station. Now, I'm coming from Zimbabwe. I didn't face any problems.
The Regional Customs Transit Guarantee Scheme means that a customs declaration made at one point in the region can be used at all crossings. The organization is working on an even more ambitious project.
Zambia launched an idea of non-stop border posts, and this is really feasible because now everything can be done at the port of entry, and then the driver can move because you are tracking all the movement there.
Information and communications technology is also critical to any economic development, from mobile phone coverage to internet penetration and systems to support it all. Key programs under this initiative are the liberalization of the ICT sector across the COMESA region by, among others, developing model policies and consumer protection.
The core process is we developed a model, policies, a model regulations. Now with
ICT sector across the COMESA region by, among others, developing model policies and consumer protection.
The core process is we developed a model, policies, a model regulations. Now we facilitate implementation at the member state.
Another key piece of COMESA's strategy focuses on agriculture and industry. Agriculture makes up over a third of Africa's GDP and employs about half of its people. But the continent still imports billions of dollars of agri-product every year. That is why the COMESA Agriculture Program has become so important in recent years.
The Regional Food Balance Sheet is a digital platform that leverages on technology to provide real-time data on availability of food, prices, and stocks.
The objective of this initiative is to support the increased use of near real-time data on critical food balance inputs to inform decision-making by governments, the private sector, and development partners.
In order to access market, you have to make sure that you meet the quality and the standard requirements that the market needs. Some of the initiatives that we are championing as a region is to make sure that our member states adhere to international standard as well as regional standard.
Meanwhile, the Joint Industrialization Strategy promotes industrial parks and special economic zones. It's aimed at helping change the dynamic of countries exporting primary commodities with little or no value added, and seeks to create more competitive economies that export value-added products.
It's true that the COVID era has taught us the importance of developing our regional value chain. One of the regional value chain that we are supporting is the pharmaceutical sector.
With backing from the African Development Bank, COMESA is implementing a project to support institutional development of regional pharmaceutical sector, as well as research and development institutions to ensure effective manufacturing for safe and quality pharmaceutical products in the region. Understanding the critical role that women and youth play in creating businesses, trade, and the economy at large, COMESA has made a number of efforts to promote and assist these groups.
Young people are the majority in the COMESA member states, and we do not want to leave them behind. They have energy, they can contribute effectively to the economic development as well as social development and leadership in their countries. They participate as voters, and we are also encouraging them to participate as candidates.
Innovative initiatives like the 50 Million African Women Speak are providing a platform to empower millions of women on the continent to start, grow, and scale up businesses.
So far, we have more than 500,000 women that have access to this platform, and they are networking with one another and sharing information.
With support from the African Development Bank, the online platform and app provide an opportunity to connect and learn from entrepreneurs across the region. So, COMESA does a lot. With immense financial support from the European Union, the African Development Bank, and the World Bank, among other partners. But what effect has the organization's work had on the area over the years? The region has seen a significant increase in trade, currently above pre-pandemic levels. From 2020 to 2021, the total for intra-COMESA exports increased by 28%, from $10 billion to $13 billion. The value of COMESA's total exports to the world increased by 56%, from $100 billion in 2020 to $156 billion in 2021. And the organization is having an impact beyond its own region. Together with the East African Community and Southern Africa Development Community, it's formed a tripartite agreement to accelerate economic integration. And the African Continental Free Trade Area, an initiative by the African Union and a free trade area that will cover the entire continent, has taken cues from the tripartite work, translating its regional frameworks into continental ones.
Regional integration is very critical and important if we as African countries are going to develop. The sooner we start looking inwards to our own solution, our own capabilities, our own resource, and we have a lot of resource in Africa. So we need to work together.
In the 21st century, trade revolves around not only goods and services, but entire industries, systems, and infrastructure to support it. Promoting and facilitating intra-Africa trade will help create a more unified Africa and spur economic development, improve livelihoods, and create a continent where possibilities are endless.